Hello, welcome to Screen Source Movie Review. Today we're going to review Black Panther, which we all saw in the last couple days. Super exciting weekend for that.
Yeah.
Screen Source is a show that happens every week at 6 p.m. MST on twitch.tv/Color Circuit Live. This is a little special because it's its own little thing where we strictly talk
Right.
about
So if you've not
Black
seen
Panther.
Black Panther and you're worried about spoilers, maybe not watch this.
Yeah,
That's a
we're
good
going
point.
to spoil a lot of things for you. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
We're not going to hold back.
No holds
No.
backsies.
No holds barred.
Damn
for
it.
you.
So Black Panther. None of us are big comic book readers.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Maybe when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Not
not kept
anymore.
up with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually only started reading comic books as an adult.
Mhm.
I have not
Graphic
read Black
novels.
Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is definitely largely exciting because this is the first Marvel cinematic universe film that is mostly black cast. So that's obviously something that people were looking forward to. And
And it's long overdue. Very,
Yes.
Very long overdue.
yeah,
So,
and interesting that the DCEU beat Marvel to the punch in way of like minorities being the main characters on screen,
yeah.
things like
it
that.
is interesting.
Yeah, but this is, I think it's the 18th Marvel film, at least in the cinematic universe. Definitely not the first Marvel Black film, though. We can't forget about Blade, the Blade trilogy, actually.
Right. There was an article about that recently saying that, like, hey, why did everyone forget about Blade?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it was a really, actually, I really like the Blade trilogy.
I
it's
love the
super
Blade
fun.
trilogy.
Wesley Snipes. Love me some Wesley Snipes. So
That was kind of like I was reading something about that too, about how like those Wesley Snipes films like kind of reinvented hero films into this higher caliber action hero type of things. And there was a couple like older Marvel films too that were centered around a black protagonist.
sure. And then we got the show that just came out recently.
Oh yes, Lightning.
Luke Cage.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Lightning's the DCEU one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think on
Cage.
CW.
On
yes,
Netflix,
Luke
yeah.
Cage, which
Yeah.
I heard was good. I haven't watched that one
I
yet
haven't
either.
watched it either, but
Yeah.
I plan on watching it.
So I have questions for you guys.
Mhm.
What are your initial thoughts of this?
I liked it. I mean, it was nice to see a new world in the Marvel universe, and it was fleshed out really well. Characters were really strong, and they didn't like skimp on anything. It was really well produced, good story. It wasn't really. It was somewhat of an origin story, not like how Peter Parker gets bit by a spider sort of origin
Right,
story,
yeah.
but we like. We have to be brought up to speed in this. Just this is how the culture is, with the king becoming the Black Panther and all that.
This
stuff.
isn't the first
and-
time we've seen him or
yes,
the Black Panther.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and they do cut to what was it? Civil War? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And where that ties in with the death of his father and everything, and so it kind of picks that story up. Yeah,
What was his father's name? It wasn't T'Challa, but it was similar.
I forget.
T'Chaka.
T'Chaka.
T'Chaka, played by John Caney.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, though. Everything was, I mean, spoiler on the spoiler review, pretty much you have to watch this. It was very well done film.
Gosh.
Well produced, well directed, well acted.
Yep. All I can say is Wakanda Forever. Love this movie. So freaking good. And all very like the women in it are extremely strong characters. Like love that part about it. Love that the different tribes and like how they're all they all have like a different kind of personality and
Different backgrounds, different
background.
cultures.
Yeah,
But they're
so
all invested though in Wakanda, except for one,
right.
because they've been kind of ostracized, right?
Right.
Yeah, but the world is just so beautiful. I mean, this movie is probably, Dylan and I were saying, it's probably one of the most beautiful looking Marvel films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
I can't think of a film actually that I thought was
so pretty.
better shot, better lit,
Mm-hmm.
as colorful. Before this, I usually said Doctor Strange was that film.
It's very pretty.
Okay.
Um,
But yeah, that everything just looks so good, and I noticed a lot of they were actually hitting on a lot of really important kind of timely topics, and I felt that the two main the villain and the hero, I felt that Black Panther and Killmonger, that they both kind of had a different agenda, and that it mimicked or paralleled Martin Luther King and
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you picked up on that.
Yeah, well, because Killmonger is like Malcolm X, in that he's like, I want us to, start fighting back, and like,
More militant.
yeah,
and,
more militant. Like let's take our our rights back, and by killing people, by fighting back, and and Black Panther's like, no, we need to do this very carefully, and we need to do this in such a way that we're not going to compromise our culture and our way of life, and he's all about peaceful protest and civil disobedience.
Sure.
And so I really liked that they addressed those issues, because I think it's really important, and really especially important for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as protagonist antagonist is concerned, this isn't a new story. I think this has been done before, and obviously it's based on kind of historical. There's a lot of historical accuracy in this. They're talking obviously a lot about like socioeconomic problems and issues, culturally, across race, across ethnicities.
Things in the people's mouths. That's actually a real thing that a certain tribe in Africa has.
The discs, yeah.
The discs, and then there's the women that are protecting Black Panther. That is based off a real tribe, and I don't remember the name of the tribe, but it's a real tribe of women who were actually protectors of a royal family. So really cool. They're like the Amazons or something. So cool.
Yeah, super. It felt. It's hard to say. I'm not black, but it felt culturally like relevant.
Right.
I imagine that the black community is probably very happy about this. There was
I've heard a lot of good things.
Kind of similar to how Coco was portrayed. Be like, I wonder how Mexican culture, and they were very enthusiastic
I think it's the highest
about it.
grossing movie in Mexico is
Yeah.
Coco.
So I would hope that
a lot of rappers backing this up. I think it was T.I. and Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar obviously has a little bit of an agenda. He's a part of this. He wrote the soundtrack for it. But they both like bought out theaters, so low income families, specifically low income black
very
families,
cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I did
could
not
go
know
watch
that.
this film. It's important.
That is so wonderful.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Speaking of, it is I think it's the second highest grossing opening for a Marvel or for a superhero film rather. It just passed Age of Ultron, and then I think yesterday or the day before it had passed Batman versus Superman. So it is still behind Avengers. The first Avengers.
one, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's doing really well though.
It's almost at a $250 million
Great,
opening right now. Yeah, which most movies can only hope to make.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I just and I think the fact that it also does justice to women too is just so great. I love Denai Guerrera from Walking Dead. She's so good in it. And then Lupita Nyong'o, who I just recently found out actually she was born in Mexico, but her parents are from Nairobi, or they're from some place in Africa. So she's both Mexican and African, and that's why her name is Lupita.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's awesome.
Okay, cool.
So what do you guys think of the story?
I liked it. As far as an antagonist, it wasn't like a clean cut. I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to destroy it for no good reason.
And the antagonist like switched halfway through the movie.
Yeah, exactly. What was that? Well, in I guess Iron Man 3, like the way the trailers were, you thought that this one guy was going to be the entire thing, and then it turned out to be a joke.
Right.
Yeah. So you have this guy with a robot shooting arm and whatever, and and they're trying to track him, but then
Claw, played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah. And then Michael B. Jordan's character becomes more prominent, and then you find out, oh, okay, so he was lied to. He was, he's not just like this evil person, but he has his anger. He has his Magneto to his Professor X sort of feeling about how they've been treated. And like we got the power. Why are we taking the back seat?
Right.
Why
aren't we doing anything?
Yeah, and that's a really interesting, enemy, like quote unquote enemy.
Do you like the fact that they were cousins?
Yeah, I mean that they were all, it's the same, family, but that I forget. Did Michael B. Jordan? He knew. Yeah, he knew his entire life that he was always told.
Yes,
I'm gonna go to this place one day.
His dad was Forrest Whitaker, who is
No, his dad was Sterling K. Brown.
I'm sorry, Sterling K. Brown.
Right.
Forrest Whitaker was there when Sterling K. Brown's character died.
Yeah.
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 I guess they were just friends.
Yeah.
Forrest
He
Whitaker
was
and-
the double spy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
well, they were both. Yeah, they were both. Yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
He
was spying
figured
on-
out. Oh, you were spying on me. Yeah.
And Sterling K. Brown, by the way, you can do no wrong. You are a
Just in
saint.
case you didn't know
You
that
are-
already, Sterling K.
He
You are
knows.
a freaking saint, man.
Jessica is obsessed.
I love you.
No.
Yeah, he's great in This Is Us.
Oh my god.
And I feel like
So
he did
good.
something else too recently that we watched.
People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, that was another one too. He is great. He's a very good actor. I will say, it didn't hit me as emotionally as I thought it would. I don't know if I'm like super prone to crying, but I'll definitely cry if something really hits me. Wonder Woman, I cried as soon as
During that scene, I think I cried when she I don't know if that was the first time I cried, but when she was like fighting she went out into the no man's land and then was fighting all the bullets off. Yeah, that was really emotional.
Oh yeah, I cried before that when they were on the island, and I think it was the first war scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like.
I cried in the car ride to the theater.
Shut up! You didn't
So-
cry.
I cried before all of you.
I cried in this movie a little bit. But yeah, I wasn't as emotional, but I also think that I'm a woman. I'm not a person of color, so I can identify more with Wonder Woman
Sure.
than I could with
Yeah.
the Black Panther movie. But
Yeah, not that you don't understand the plight, but it doesn't
No,
affect you
right.
as much because you're not as connected
exactly.
to it.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't identify as much, but I did still cry. I did still think it was poignant. Drew a lot of parallels for me. I was thinking about Lion King as a movie, and
It's set in Africa.
well, yeah, but not only that, if you think about all the scenes where
Trying to help her out here.
Yeah.
where he's going through he's in this dream state with Rafiki, and it kind of reminded me
Oh
of
yeah,
that,
when the ritual
Right, the
that
ritual.
for the new king.
It is very similar in that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then his dad dies. And
Just trying to figure out how to be a king.
right,
You meet the ancestors and
right. And
yeah.
one of the ancestors is Bad Apple, Uncle Scar, and he's
Holy
crazy,
shit! It is
so-
very similar.
Yeah, I
it's-
thought you were just being racist.
No. I it's really similar.
Mhm.
If you think
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought I was
Choking on
I
popcorn.
was oh shit! During that scene when he's when he's doing the ritual and he's with his dad,
Yeah.
I'm yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a lot like Lion King.
Wow.
And he has in Lion King he talks to his dad
I appreciate
he's
Black
got
Panther less now.
clouds.
It's the same movie.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Thanks,
not.
Jess.
And that was just Hamlet, so whatever.
It's
You ruined it for
No
me, Jess.
stars.
both great movies. I just saw
Mhm.
some parallels, some
Right.
similarities. that I thought were excellent. By the way, I think that scene where he's doing the ritual and he's talking to his dad, and then there's all the Black Panthers in the tree, and there's like a sunset. Oh my God, how gorgeous! It's such a good scene.
It was beautiful, like artistically.
so beautiful. Yeah.
And stylistically, like they really hit the nail on the head. Like we haven't seen colors pop like that in a movie like this before. Like maybe the dream sequence, or not the dreams, like the LSD sequence. I need to go get some water. But the LSD sequence in Doctor Strange, it's not really LSD. Yeah. God, you still haven't seen that? Crazy.
No.
The kind of the dream state weird thing. And this Afrofuturism, which is what a lot of the Wakanda is based on. And I like the idea that it's surrounded by rural Africa. It's surrounded by a desert, and it's even cloaked by a desert, and this booming technologically advanced cities underneath it. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, and they had that Iron Man moment at the end where they're at the World Union. United Nations.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, in all due respect, what would a farming, African farming community be able to offer us? And he does a little smirk like I'm fucking Iron Man.
Fade to black.
That moment, yeah.
Yeah. You guys have no idea.
I actually think, location-wise, that there was like one part that I had a problem with that somebody had pointed out that this is I think the first MCU film that isn't based on like a major city that we're used to, like New York or LA or London or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's a completely new area, and we spend most of our time there, like 90% of our time.
Or we go to South Korea, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one part that I did have a problem with is that we went to South Korea. I guess story-wise, I see why that needed to happen in order to move things forward. And it was a cool scene, the fight scene.
Sure.
Inside the casino, and the weird lady out front, and she's freaking like cutting fish or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of like the secrecy of that, and she's in this big, huge casino. But I feel like it's set up like a little bit of a false expectation for me, because then this whole thing happens, and then you have of course, cars flipping over. I'm kind of getting tired of it, to be honest with you. Although I have heard in the past that any good action movie has a chase scene.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be a car chase, but that's obviously like what we're used to.
Well, and it was a badass car chase.
It was cool.
Really
I think I'm just
awesome.
getting car chase fatigue.
Sure.
And like literally pulls the tire out with
Yeah.
He almost did the same exact thing in Civil War, though. I just feel like
We got a claw.
Well,
You
he's
gotta-
making
I'll use my claws. Like, thanks, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good
Bring
at
your
it.
claws.
the best of his claws.
I know, but it's just the same.
Doing what he,
Yeah.
Just the same car chasing. Anyways, again, false expectations for me because I was expecting more city scenes,
Sure.
but instead it was almost like it like cut in the middle of the movie, and then we're back at Wakanda, and then we spent all the rest of our time there.
Yeah.
But Wakanda's beautiful.
I would have rather it have just been Wakanda.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't. What I'm saying is that I wish they hadn't done the South Korea scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I think a good point about the mid credit and end credit scenes. The one where he's
We'll talk about the mid-credit scene first.
Yeah, so the mid-credit scene is when he takes his sister, Black Panther takes his sister to the place where his dad killed his uncle, right? And then he builds this. Isn't that the first one?
Well, that's at the very end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
It's right before the credits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The mid-credit scene is when they're at the UN.
Oh,
Right,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Which another problem I had is that this movie, it didn't have this bow tie, especially, and I think it really needed a tie at the end of the movie. It needed to come together, because it's almost like we're looking at it as a new film. It's a new standalone kind of. It's a part of this bigger world, but we're learning about Black Panther kind of for the first time.
Yes. Yeah.
We know very little other than the fact that other than what little we know from Civil War.
Right.
But I don't like that the bow was tied in the mid-credit scene, right? Because what we're looking for is it was a little bit convoluted too, like Black Panther and Michael B. Jordan's character Killmonger. we kind of learn like, oh, that's kind of one of the bigger premises that we're looking at is this Malcolm X, Martin Luther King mentality or ethic, this ethic bumping of heads.
Right.
And at the very end of the film, it's him and his now girlfriend, right? He kisses her in the sunset and whatever. It's him saying like, please stay. I think we have a way to compromise for you to stay.
Right.
Implying that I'm going to now use Wakanda's resources to help the world.
Right.
But you don't really know, like, that's the implication.
Mm-hmm.
He's changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
The hero he's gone through the hero's journey of being very restricted by how he feels, and he needs things to stay the same.
Right.
Wakanda's
And
existed because of
tradition
this and
and all
tradition,
that
blah, blah,
stuff.
and then realizing at the very end, like, oh no, I was wrong. I need to do this to move forward.
Right.
And
He's still not being violent about it, though.
I'm
I
sorry,
wanna be clear
not being
about that.
violent.
He's still not being violent about it. He's still
Right.
going about it in a
well, that's one of the
peaceful way.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That's what he was trying to avoid, right? And then the mid-credit scene is where that all, I think, tied up, and that's a really weird way, I think, to tie up a movie in the middle of the credits. And that he was at the UN saying, I want to help the world now. I feel like that should have been just moved back or move forward.
Yeah.
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 Does anybody else feel that at all, or did
Well,
that bother you?
I mean, the scene technically didn't need to happen.
Sure.
It could have just been, I'm gonna find a way to make sure we help the world.
Okay, so it either doesn't happen, or because it did happen, it needed to be at the end.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, like that scene could have been implied. It was cute. It was tongue in cheek. It was like, wait till you get a load of me
Yeah.
and my unobtainium. That was one thing I wanted to bring up.
Vibranium.
Vibranium. Right. Well, see, that's what I immediately thought of, is that the dumb element or whatever in Avatar, which really took it was like the laziest fucking writing. This element that is hard to find. What are we gonna call it? Unobtainium.
You know what though?
Ugh.
To be fair, like if you've looked at a periodic table of elements recently, there are some letters. It's like Americanum, Californium, we found it at Berkeley, Berkeleynium.
Right. Yeah.
Like there are a lot of like no thought went into the naming.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
so this is
it took a long time to make Avatar. They could have thought of a better name.
Yeah.
So I think Vibranium is a better name.
It sounds
Sure.
cool.
Yeah, you can actually take the root of it means, vibrancy and life, and this
I
is
didn't think
the
about that.
root of their life culture is this. So I mean, it was a little bit smoother than unobtainium.
Yes,
It's hard to obtain.
Oh god.
All right.
And I thought that scene at the UN kind of represented, to me, it represented the fact that like we haven't really been giving people of color a voice for so long.
It was a great scene.
Yeah,
I would love-
because we haven't given them a voice, and we haven't said that what they have to say and what they their contributions to history, we haven't made them important. And so I think, well, it's very, very, important that this came out during Black History Month, purposefully. And then also just that, like, he's basically saying, like, yeah, you say that we don't have a lot to offer. You think that, but we do.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to pay attention to what we have to offer, because we've
Right.
already done so much.
Yeah.
And I think that's really symbolic.
It's beautiful. This movie is a big political statement. I forgot that. Yeah, it's Black History Month. It's February. And that scene really, that again tied it all together. It was really like a "fuck you, Trump" statement.
Right.
And I'm glad it happened. I just wish it would have happened in the movie,
Sure,
because
yeah, yeah.
technically it's not a part of the movie.
Well, and
Right.
and
It's in
some
the
people
credits.
don't stay for the credits. They just
Well, I mean, most
Marvel,
people
yeah.
know if you see a Marvel movie, stay a little bit.
We've got
Because we used to not have the mid-credit sequence. You used to have to wait till the whole thing did for Samuel L. Jackson to come on and talk about a Tesseract. and so now they have at least 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe what Guardians of the Galaxy had 3. I don't know,
Right.
but they always I don't know. Sometimes they put in a little bit more, especially if it's more of a jokey movie.
Okay, I remember. Yeah, it was like during the credits.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they. If you go to a Marvel movie and you don't stick around, you don't know what's
You don't
up.
know what is up about Marvel. Yeah, you're right.
Did you guys understand that end credit scene?
So that's the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
See that was another one I never saw.
Okay.
So he's popped
it's
up
a very good movie.
all the time. Like he was teased at the end of Thor or one of the Thor or something like that. I don't know. And it was
Bucky.
like, oh yeah. So I still need to see that movie because they're still using him. They're still using that old Winter Soldier. So
Yeah, you need to know all 25 characters
I don't
now.
remember it enough to know how his character ties into this. I don't remember that enough, so I'll probably have to go back and rewatch it too. But even the credits in this movie were so pretty.
Yeah, I mean those are arguably again like the best credits we've ever seen.
I did like the link of that, like it was like a sand technology.
Yeah.
How all the holograms and stuff were made out of like a physical like sand or something. I thought that was a really neat touch, and how that was how the story was told at the beginning of the movie, and that's how in the end credits scene is all kind of linked together.
Don't
like
they
it's
do
the
that in The Lion
style
King
of
also?
Yes,
They do, don't they?
yes, they do.
Wow.
They draw in the sand.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's Africa. It is a desert, or
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
the northern part
of
is.
parallels, but I love both those movies, so I have no complaints about that.
Yeah. Again, stylistically, like they really killed it.
The music, so good. Kendrick Lamar, you are still on top.
I honestly
So
thought he'd
good.
be in it more. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, after it was
Yeah.
announced that he's doing the entire
Yeah,
thing,
I was a little disappointed that I didn't hear him more,
but I think
it
he
would've
only
been
decided to do the
distracting.
entire thing after the movie had been made,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even after editing had happened.
Yeah, and whenever I think it would have been a little bit more distracting too, because whenever I hear his voice, I just want to like start dancing and moving around, and so I couldn't focus completely on what was happening. I was just focusing on his voice. I'm like, yeah. Oh, sorry. Get back to the movie. Just watch. The movie.
It's distracting in that like what if Tom Cruise showed up in this movie and you're like, what the hell?
It's like, hey guys,
Yeah. What are you doing here?
the littlest, whitest man came to Wakanda.
Speaking of the littlest, whitest man, what did you guys think of Martin Freeman?
Did great.
Great, especially his American accent. I was listening to the whole thing, like that's really fucking good. Like that's
He's not cracking at all.
yeah, like
Oh.
because I always find it interesting. Hearing like when like Monty Python would do an American accent, they was like, "Hi there, Bill. Good to see you." And-
Everything's super enunciated.
yeah. So to just have this like, yeah, he's solid. Yeah.
And then was the other guy supposed to have what is his name? Andy Serkis. Was he supposed to have a South African accent? Because it kind of sounded like that.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure what he was going for. Was it kind of like a
I feel
maybe
like
Cockney? I forget how he talked.
I think it was going for
Very, like,
Gollum.
It was very South African.
You should have
sounding.
just reoccurred that.
precious arm.
Like, if you guys see it again, tell me if I'm wrong, but it just sounded South African. It was really weird. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe.
Well, yeah, and South African sounds a little European, right?
Right, because of
Yes.
the colonization.
Yes.
and all
Right,
that,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that Martin Freeman did a good job. I think of him as a very high caliber actor. I imagine that's why they casted him too.
Yeah.
And Andy Serkis is too, and he did a good job too.
Yes.
And I think I was talking about like because we saw it separately.
Yeah.
There's a whole sushi thing that happened. I was supposed to see it with him, but Sushi King in Albuquerque, you go fuck yourself.
You guys really screwed him over.
Oh
Waited
my
like
god!
an hour for
Hour and
sushi.
a half for 2 rolls because there's one guy back. Anyway, yeah,
Want some
this is part of my Black Panther review, like how much Sushi King sucks.
We'll just move the logo over. It'll be Black Panther /
Oh God!
Sushi King review.
I should have gone into Tucanos. They bring it right to your table. Anyway, what was I even saying? Oh yeah,
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. Like we were saying, like, oh, and who was the guy that played the first bad guy? And I forgot what Andy Serkis looks like because
Yeah.
his job, for the most part, in movies, is to like anything else, whether
It's to
it
wear
be,
ping pong balls.
exactly, whether it be Caesar from the Planet of the Apes movies or Gollum or Snoke.
Yep.
I always get it.
Snoke. Yeah.
Snoopy.
It was Snope.
He-
It was Snopes.
And he is amazing in all of those roles. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's so great. But it was nice to actually see him.
Yeah.
You know, for once, it's like, oh,
He's good at he's obviously clearly played his part well. It was a little like, I don't want to say overacted, but his character is obviously very
Yeah.
enthusiastic.
Right.
That was
Like a
kinda fun.
crazy bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
super interesting too that like Lupita Nyong'o had to do that in the
Star
the
Wars.
first Star Wars, both Star Wars movies, Last Jedi
Mm-hmm.
and Force Awakens, and she
Right.
said that she took a lot of advice from Andy Serkis about how to do that properly.
It's interesting how that is now a way you can act in a movie. Like
Yeah.
you can be credited just along with everyone else, but you're going to be hidden by CGI.
Yeah.
And I mean, it. Yes, they are motion capturing their bodies, but it is nice to see like the voice actor part of it, like being not visible, but your voice really being a huge part of
They even
the
do that in video
performance.
games now with AAA games. They're
Yeah.
able to afford like them all getting ping pong balled up and running around.
It's pretty standard
so
now.
cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
I
by the way, the meme, the Tolkien white guys, is pretty funny. I liked it because they're both from Lord of the Rings. So
That's
yeah,
good.
I thought that was good.
Yeah.
There's two Tolkien. Well, okay, two Tolkien white guys.
Tolkien.
I don't think that Freeman. I thought he did a good job. I don't know that his character. Is clearly like a secondary, tertiary character. I just felt like it was a little shoved in. I don't know that it was needed in this film in order.
Like
for
now you're
the-
gonna fly the ship and like take out the cargo
cut
ships
to that
and stuff.
now because we have something else to cut to.
It's like we needed another guy to do stuff in the last bit of the movie.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I keep shitting on this movie, but I'm nitpicking here now. Again, it's a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and deserves every.
It's a
percent.
great, yeah.
But-
movie,
but it can have some flaws.
Yes, and Martin Freeman, again, I just feel like that character felt shoved in there, felt unnecessary.
Kind
in a way.
both the white guy characters felt sort of like shoved into me.
Sure, yeah.
And
I guess you could say that about Claw.
you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe that's for good reason because it's been happening to black people for centuries. So
Yeah.
let's just like overlook that.
Yeah, didn't need the white characters. Get them out of here.
Yep. You really didn't need them, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Michael B. Jordan was bad the whole time. It's not like Claw. It's not like Claw made Killmonger.
Right.
He was just. They were like both working towards the same thing.
Right.
And then Michael B. Jordan took him out.
Yeah, he was just using him to get closer to his goal.
Yeah. I guess I can see the reasons for these characters. Little baby steps to get us closer and closer. Martin Freeman did play a role in that he like introduced Claw. Again, I take it back.
His
no,
first scene was in the casino.
we don't need the FBI in
and-
there.
Yeah.
Get him
yeah.
out.
We
No.
don't. Yeah. I mean, we really didn't need. They're very extraneous. Is that the right word?
Yeah, and I'm going to
Characters.
switch over to to another thing that I didn't like, which was Michael B. Jordan. I thought his character was just fine. I liked the writing for it. I did not like his acting. I thought he overacted. I don't think you necessarily need to be subtle. But I'm thinking like, what's the guy's name from Get Out? Like his character was really well played.
yeah.
I mean, he plays it the way
Daniel
he
Kaluuya.
plays things. Yes.
Kaluuya's great too.
But I don't know why. I've seen Michael B. Jordan things. The first time I ever saw him was in Parenthood, and he's amazing. He's very good at acting. Obviously,
Yeah, you
this
need to watch Creed. He's
and the
phenomenal in
director of Creed also made Black Panther, and I feel like there was a little bit of hey, get over here, you
Mhm.
know, like let's do this. And Creed 2 is actually, I think, being filmed right now. But I think I think he likes working with Michael B. Jordan.
Sure.
And I just don't think Michael B. Jordan brought it. I think I'm the only one that thinks this.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the character. I mean, maybe I
agree.
could
I like-
relook at how he acted it. But I mean, it didn't like put me off or
Okay.
anything like that.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
Marvel's
I
not
liked his character.
known for their amazing antagonists.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, they really do front load the hero.
yes.
Yeah, like it is about the hero and whatever plight they're gonna have to figure out today. You know.
Yeah. And again, though, that it was fine. Michael G. Jordan, you did all right, but like again, it was too much. I just feel like there was no nuance in what he was doing.
I disagree. I think he acted well. I think that he was portrayed this angry person who's just like I've had it up to here with.
Imagine
being
if
treated
Sterling B.
this way."
Jordan
Sterling K. Brown. Sterling K.
I've
Brown,
mixed
you
their
just mixed
names.
their
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Imagine if
he-
Sterling K. Brown did that part.
I mean, yeah, of course. I would love for him to have been.
Imagine how
have
much more
played a bigger role.
passionate that would have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just don't feel like he really had that.
I feel like the reason why his character was the way it was because he had all this anger about the way society is and also how his father was killed. And,
Right.
and I think he he played this character who's like just so like hyper masculine
That's
and
where he grew up.
violent.
He was in the
Yeah.
streets. He
Yeah,
was
he
a
had to be that
black
way.
youth that was scraping by. Was
Right.
was probably didn't go to a good school. Probably just
Yeah, the
was
projects
on the streets all the time and having to deal with all this shit. And then his dad gets murdered, and then but like he remembers, oh, there's this fairy tale that I've been taught, and so yeah, I mean he was not born and raised in this oasis.
No.
Right.
And he's this angry person that wants
Right.
so yeah, he was a little, he was, I don't know, maybe
He's kind of like an audience surrogate in a way too, because he's living a life of like not being in privilege, whereas all these people in Wakanda are essentially like living in privilege.
Yeah.
And so I think that the way he portrays his character is very like I have a lot of empathy for the way he portrays the character, and I think that's why I liked it.
Again, I completely agree. The character and the way he was written and this villain coming to prominence in the way that he does was done well. It's just Michael B. Jordan for me.
okay.
It could have been the
Sometimes
same
people
exact
just don't do it for
character,
ya.
just different actor.
Yeah.
I also want to say that I wasn't expecting the movie to be funny at all.
It was great.
But it was
A lot
pretty
of fun
funny.
It was
parts.
a good balance. Like we
Yeah.
talked about Thor and how maybe it was too jokey.
Yeah, that one was overtly
Right. It
a
was like
comedy.
it's the funny Thor movie because
Right.
they all have a vein of humor. These are quippy superhero characters.
some more than others. Iron Man.
Ant-Man. But Captain America is not funny.
No.
But
No.
Chris Evans, you're boring.
yeah, but this was a good balance of you had the sister who was like probably the best character in the movie for
She
me.
was
So
great.
fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
And like there was this sense of humor that it wasn't oversaturation. There was still a serious movie about like lineage and where you are in the world and all that stuff, but it had a really good balance of funny, which is important. Like this is going to something we talked about, I was gonna produce Down in Front, and you were like, you don't want to be the funny guy on screen, and I was like, well, part of being funny is knowing when to let other people be funny.
I do
And so,
remember you
like
saying
there's
that,
a
yeah.
balance to that where it doesn't have to be just fucking joke to be a funny movie.
Sure.
This was a really good balance of it was an entertaining, funny adventure movie. Yeah.
And their
good balance to
accents
it.
were amazing. I don't know if we mentioned
They were
it yet, but
Chadwick Boseman.
So
Holy shit.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like, They must have studied it. They must have
Sure.
like
Oh yeah,
studied
for sure. Well, this movie,
African
I think
culture just
they
in
really, dove deep into what does
my
it mean to
God.
be African,
Yeah.
you know, and that connection with African American too. They're not the same,
No.
but there is a history there and a connection to be made, and that was really fun to see that. And I genuinely wonder if that is going to make anybody mad. In the Black community specifically, wondering if, like, African American is not African, or Black culture is not African culture.
Right.
They're very vastly different. But again, there's clearly a history. I for some reason feel like that might bother
many
people.
African Americans come from they were slaves that were brought over from Africa. Their ancestors were the slaves that were brought over. So they, I have a lot of friends that have done that. They've done 23andMe or Ancestry.com, and they found out that their ancestors were slaves, and so like So it is meaningful to them because they know that there's this connection, this really strong ancestral connection to Africa. And so I think because of that, people respect it a lot more than we would think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Going back to the funny thing, I really liked Winston, the character Winston Duke portrayed. He was the big gorilla guy.
Oh yeah.
They were part. What was the name of that tribe?
tribe,
But they had a giant. I really like that. Like, they showed the giant gorilla statue, and it made me realize, like, oh, they all have their own animal.
Right, like that was his
mascot.
fight mask. That was his war. Yeah.
And he was frightening at first, and I loved that. And then you go cut back to him later on.
We're vegetarians.
Yeah,
Like, I'm kidding. We're
and they could have. I don't know what this
Well,
guy's
and
background
I don't
is.
know if you guys know this, but gorillas are vegans, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They're actually vegetarian.
Yeah, these huge bulking monsters that they only eat vegetables.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
funny.
Yeah.
But it was I don't know what this guy's acting history is, Winston Duke, but that the funny was a little bit like in your face, clearly, like he's laughing.
Yeah.
But it was really well done. That's hard to do, I think. It's a very self-aware humor that his character was doing, and it was some of the best scenes, I think. Are you guys
Really
done
funny.
yet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
When
super.
the sister's like, colonizer, and she says that to Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of like, we're done with white people. We're
Yeah.
gonna start. It's time.
like,
Let's
oh,
flip
she's
the
like,
roles.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I have to like heal another white boy or something.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
We're pretty lame.
There wasn't I honestly thought there would be more action, because that's what I feel like we're kind of used to that in Marvel.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
There was it's not like there wasn't action, but
Sure.
like this was very like familial and political, and like it feel like it focused a lot on that.
And there were no guns. If you notice,
that's
there
interesting.
were no guns, and they made a point
Oh,
to
wait,
talk
hold
about
on.
that.
With the energy like Panther blasters in her hand, those are kind of gun-like.
Yeah, she was shooting
Those
projectiles.
were some of my favorite, because
Uh-huh.
they looked like Mega Man. She looked like Mega Man. That was so cool.
But yeah, I definitely think they made a point to say like stupid guns, like
Oh, right.
remember, like some the
Primitive,
sister-
yeah,
prim-
there's-
oh,
yeah,
they're so
yeah,
primitive
yeah.
or whatever.
That was fun.
I thought that was really really good.
Right.
And then just the fact that like all their fighting scenes were so awesome, but they didn't have guns. It was really cool.
I like I really like the setting of the waterfall.
Oh, like the
where
trial.
they do the ritual.
Yeah.
To see who's gonna usurp the king. Those are really fun fighting scenes that we went back a couple times. How the fuck did all those people get stacked up along that water? How did they climb there?
Or is it
along the
is it
walls?
like caves? Is it like a series of caves and they just pop out
Not
on
that
the cliffs?
It
I
didn't
mean,
look like it.
I don't know,
Yeah.
that scene was really cool looking. I
It
don't know
was
how they
it
did
was
that.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love this. I love that look of the traditional like African aesthetic, and then mixed in with this like, and then it looks like a freaking UFO is pulling up like to
Yeah.
park.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see. But yeah, I thought the action was really, really good. The way I'm not sure that I loved the line that Michael B. Jordan was made to say right before he died, or right when he got stabbed. He's like, "Yeah, good move." I don't know if you remember that. He like jumped in front of the train, or right after the train had passed, and you jumped over
Yeah,
it.
I jumped right into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But otherwise, like, yeah, I enjoyed the action of it.
Yeah, the technology looked really cool. Looked awesome. I loved how his necklace was like, that was all he needed was that necklace, and then it turned into the
Right,
suit.
it was all in the
that was really cool. The way everything was like, they had spaceships and the trains were like floating, and so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, did you guys notice that the sister was basically Q?
Yes. Well, yeah. She was like, "Here's what you'll have on your mission." And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's very James Bondy.
Yeah.
She was either Jarvis or Q. Yeah. But
Sure.
She was like, she was like the
The
techie.
technologist, whatever word that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked that. Like, they made the tech person like a young woman. That was really cool.
Yeah, it
'Cause
was
they've never done that before. It was kind of like
a young woman
thing
of
before.
color. Yeah.
I was like, dang, that is awesome. They're making like one of the smartest people in the whole movie this like teenage girl. You know,
Was she teenage?
I mean,
Well,
probably
Close to.
close to.
Yeah,
or like
young.
young
I mean,
adult.
early
Yeah,
20s.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that, like, she was quirky and funny, and she's like,
great.
what does she say? She's like, welcome king or whatever. He's like, get
Yeah,
up.
yeah, shut up. Yeah. Like, yeah, there was this great chemistry, like brother
So
sister thing.
good.
Yeah.
Very much felt like a brother sister.
It was so well,
relationship.
yeah. Like what, and also, by the way, what the fuck are those?
Yeah.
So good. He's
Yeah.
like, I decided to go traditional, bring it an old school. That was so
Sandals.
good. I
Oh
was
my
not
God.
expecting that. They really like, catch you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Right, the writing was well done. What did you guys think of Chadwick Boseman?
I thought he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong, silent type, like stoic. You know,
Sure,
but he played that well, and I think that's how the character was supposed to be played.
Unlike
Yeah.
his father, or at least the portrayal of his father in the movie, who was he seemed more like not mystical, but more like philosophical.
Mm-hmm. A
know,
wise
old
sage.
man,
Yeah. Which happens when you turn like 73.
That you turn into a
you
sage.
just you have a lot of shit.
Automatically become wise.
Yeah, people come to you and you dispense knowledge.
That's
Yeah.
how it works. Yeah. I really enjoyed Chadwick Boseman. Apparently, like, in a lot of the reviews and things, there hasn't been a ton of talk about him in particular. I think people are like, yeah, he did just fine.
Right.
I really enjoyed it though. I don't know that
great.
anybody else could have done that
Mm-hmm.
the way he did it. And it's, again, I was like really I was really happy with that accent. There was an article about, or there was an interview about the choice to do that, and he said I felt like I had no other choice. Like I couldn't justify the character being having an American accent
Yeah.
in Central Africa.
You're right.
There's no way. I think that that was a good choice on their behalf. I think that it couldn't have been done any other way. So.
And now I have a question and I know it was because he was his first movie, Civil War.
Yeah.
Like the first time we see the character.
Yes.
So he's a part of the larger Avengers crew already, or what is his link? I forget because
So I think he becomes a part of the Avengers because he wants to basically. I mean, he's upset that his father was killed by. Who was his father killed by?
well, it was
A bomb.
it was a bomb. Yeah, like it was
But
like
who
in a
set
building.
The bomb up. It was someone.
Yeah, we I call upon the producer. I feel like he would know.
Right.
But
yeah, I from what I can remember, honestly, I don't remember that he's a part of the.
It would have been Baron Zemo in Civil War.
Baron Zemo.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, producer God. Black Panther, I think as of the end of this film, I don't know that he's a part of the Avengers yet, or even was prior to that, right? Because this follows the events of the Avengers,
Right.
or the Civil War film. Oh no. No, yeah, he is in it because he was in. Yeah, he was in Civil War.
Yes,
Or-
yeah,
yeah.
Well, yeah, and they said he'll be in Infinity Wars.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so never mind. Yeah, no,
And it
he's
looks
picking
like-
sides.
Yeah.
And it looks like some of the other main characters will be back in Infinity War from the trailer.
Who isn't
Infinity
going
War
to be
is
in
going to be
Infinity
is going to
War?
have
Like,
everybody,
Everyone.
yeah,
all 28 of them.
I mean,
like it's gonna,
all of Wakanda.
and it's gonna be one movie, right? Like one movie.
I think it's
With-
part 1 actually.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
Yeah. I think it's Infinity War part 1 if I'm not
'Cause
mistaken.
that's
That makes
a
sense 'cause it
glut.
seems- yeah. How would they fit all that?
It's
in
like
one movie?
street, like the later Street Fighter games. They just had like 40 characters.
Is
like
that true?
I don't know, but I
Oh,
just
yeah,
see
yeah,
like
okay.
the character selection screen, just like fucking everybody is like, let's make a movie with everybody.
Yeah.
When
like,
you said
yeah.
that, I was thinking of Streets of Rage. So I was
gonna
like,
be-
wait, there was
Oh.
only like 4 of them,
I
right?
know they threw in that kangaroo and
Yeah.
It's gonna be really overwhelming, but it's gonna be probably really.
Yeah,
I'm-
and what people are speculating is that they're not all going to make it
No.
past
Right.
this film.
No.
Right.
Yeah, we're
Right.
going to lose some of those
Yeah.
characters, which will be fun to see the new generation. Kind of
Right.
like what X-Men did.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they kind of went back in time.
I'm
Yeah,
just
they
saying,
fucked
though,
with the time thing a lot.
Yeah,
And it was cool to see like the first batch, the first class.
Yeah, but it
Um,
feels like the second class.
They
Yeah,
better, they
yeah.
better not kill off Black Panther. That's gonna look real bad. Just
Uh,
saying.
He's the first one to go.
I know.
Like,
And it's like,
Last one in,
okay,
first one
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Oof,
Come on,
oof.
Marvel. I have
Um,
faith in you.
What's the other Black Avenger? He was in Ant-Man,
Oh, he has the
Falcon or something like
Yeah,
that.
he has the wings.
Yeah, he flies.
Yeah, not a big character.
Yeah, like an auxiliary. Yeah, like
cool, though.
like by the time Ant-Man comes around, you get the feeling like the Avengers has like improv classes that people go through and be like, "You want to be an Avenger? What's your thing? Oh, you like to throw discuses? Well, come on in. You know?
Yeah,
Go
well,
be
that was
discus boy. Yeah.
and that was done. That was more blatant than what you just said. When Iron Man goes and looks for Spider-Man in Civil War, and he's like, "Hey, you want to join my cause? Like, we got a big fight coming up." And so then Ant-Man shows up.
Right.
That's a good fight scene, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
One of the
real
best.
good.
But back to Black Panther. let's finish this up. How did you overall? Big thumbs up, big thumbs down, somewhere in the middle. Recommend it.
Big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Completely
thumbs up. I
recommend.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to go
Give
watch
it an
this.
A. Totally go watch it.
I've been hearing people say this might be the best Marvel film.
one of
It's
my
so hard
favorites.
because I feel like every freaking Marvel film that comes out, I keep saying that.
Yeah, well, and for I am like I said in Screen Source, which you can watch on twitch.tv/Color Circuit Live, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sundays. Earlier today, I said this. I have Star Wars fatigue. I kind of have superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
Really, after 18 movies of Marvel,
Exactly.
you have superhero-
like I haven't
would
seen a
you?
lot of them actually.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen Thor 2 and I haven't seen Winter
Skip it.
Soldier. Right.
Watch that one.
I kind of half watched the first Captain America because he's not funny.
He's the blandest.
He's the blandest.
He's
He's
kinda
like he
bland.
wears the flag. Woo!
Yeah.
The second the second captain and third captain. Actually, they're all actually really good. I went back and rewatched them and realized how good they were. It's more story writing than it is character.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's they all need to be called. I wonder who will win because I mean, of course, we know who will win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless they kill some off in Infinity War, which is
Or
gonna be
if
cool.
there's a Civil War.
Right. But yeah, like this was just a really nice breath of fresh air.
Yes.
In so many different ways. In
It's
that
a standalone.
it is technically a superhero film, but it barely in a way. Like he has a costume and he has a persona and he fights. But other than that, like he's not, getting, oh, the chief of police is saying we got to get to the World Trade Center because something's
Yeah.
going down. Like this was a completely different story, fresh story.
its own
and-
location.
Yes.
Its own. Yes. Yeah. I'm really glad you feel that way.
Yeah, and that it and like
Even with the fatigue.
Mhm, yeah, and I like Guardians of the Galaxy, and that it's its own world, and it is dealing with its own thing, and it's not necessarily crime fighting and all that stuff.
They're doing a good job,
Yeah.
honestly, of doing that, creating these characters' worlds and then bringing them together every so often, every fourth, fifth movie, and then
I'm waiting for them to do a female.
Black Widow's
It's
being
coming.
written.
I'm
Yeah.
not that compelled yet by her character, but maybe I will be.
It's funny
I'm
because
hoping.
it will have been her like 8th or 9th appearance in a movie without being.
Right.
I
the
think she's
fir-
the most reoccurring character
Yeah.
I read
She
somewhere.
is,
Yeah.
but it's like it's a little frustrating.
She's a little
It's like,
bland.
guys.
Yeah, well, but she's a Russian spy. That could be super fucking cool.
It could be awesome.
Oh my God!
So
Why
cool.
haven't you done this?
Red Sparrow. What? No, I actually
Yeah.
heard it's not doing very well.
Oh,
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
But I really hope that they do her justice and that they really make that a good standalone film, because I feel like Wonder Woman was really, really good, and I think that they're gonna have a lot to live up to in terms of a good female superhero.
They're just
movie.
going to CGI out, not even because she was barely wearing anything in Ghost in Shell, but they're just going to add the Black Panther suit over her Ghost
Black
in
Widow.
Shell.
Black
Black
Widow.
Widow. Sorry, Black. Jesus Christ. And thank you for watching the Black Panther 2018 movie
Watch
review.
it, please watch.
Yes, please go out.
So
Do
good.
yourself a favor. Honestly, listen to that soundtrack. Kendrick Lamar killing it still.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, producer over there,
Yeah.
Digi.
And happy Black History Month. by
Happy
the way.
Black History Month. Happy
Right.
Black Panther. See you next time.
Bye bye.
I kind of like how loose